What is your most embarrassing bathroom story? I've got some good ones here, but if you hang around till the end, I'm gonna tell you mine, and I gotta tell you, it'll blow your mind. So have you ever had a bathroom story? I mean, think about it. We've all seen Something About Mary, Dumb and Dumber. There are some really good bathroom scenes out there. Well, what I want to talk to you about today is we put a post out on our YouTube community and said, hey, what is your worst bathroom scene? And I got to tell you, we got some pretty good ones in. And then I'm going to tell you about mine at the very end, because I got to tell you, this happened at an event where there's 70,000 people. And I got to tell you, it didn't turn out well. Well, in a way it did. But stick around to the end, because I promise you'll want to hear about it. So first of all, we're going to go to William. William says, in Afghanistan in 2012, 3 espresso energy drinks in on flight duty, and a helicopter is coming in. Sounds like fun so far. I stand up and realize that the gas I released earlier had a little something extra with it. So here I am sprinting back to my room to change my pants and underwear to get back before this helicopter lands. One of the more chaotic 10 minutes of my life. Man, I completely get it and understand. That's not a good time to realize that your gas was a little wet, but you know, it is what it is. So next we've got Trev. Trev, and I recognize Trev. Trev jumps into my live streams a lot. Love seeing you in here. Let's go with this one. Just leaving from eating at a restaurant with the family. We had a long ride home, and of course, I had to poop. I thought I could make it home, but my stomach was doing flip-flops and turns. We passed one gas station after another till I couldn't hold it anymore. Finally, rolled up on the rinky-dink little fill-up place, stepped one leg out of the car, and dropped the load. Well, hate to say that. So there I am doing the walk of shame into the place, and ain't nobody in there. I'm looking for the bathrooms, and the men's has an out of order sign on it, but it wasn't locked. Without being deterred, I took it off the door and went in. I finished my business, got up to clean myself, and it was all over me. So I took the mirror off from the lavatory. Let me back up and read that again. So I took the mirror off from the lavatory, put it in the corner, and finished cleaning up. I'm fiddling with my belt, and that mirror had slipped, fell backwards, and broke. I go to flush and forget it was out of order, so the water starts rising, and I just ran the hell out of there. The cashier was back at the register. We locked eyes but didn't say anything, and I left. That's the most embarrassing so far. That's a pretty good one. I tell you, I don't know if I can top that with any of these. Kurt says, when I found out that the public bathroom at the park did not indeed have an attendant, the guy was nice enough, just a little too hands-on. I'm not falling for that a third time. Third time? I guess the first two you're trying to figure out if you liked it or not. Anyway, Kurt, there you go. Daniel Gonzalez says, one time I leaned back on the toilet in my home and accidentally caused some form of damage, because the second I heard the loud bang behind me, water was leaking everywhere, and I basically crippled the one bathroom we had in the home. Yeah, those tanks aren't necessarily a great backrest, especially if you're like kicking way back and relaxing. It can get pretty bad. Next one, Shay Pearson says, was using a portaloo in the middle of the night on a campsite, and some really nice guys pushed it over and filmed me while I was trapped half inside with a ruptured knee, screaming for help for what seemed like hours. Beat that. That's a pretty good one. And I don't know what kind of porta-johny it was, but if you turned blue, I bet you had a hard time getting that off. That's got to be a tough one. Next, Lawrence says, haven't had one yet, but my former boss literally destroyed a toilet cubicle after he fell over in it. The guy is very obese and basically ripped the bowl from the floor, broke the dividing wall for the next cubicle from its brackets, and likely punched the drywall in anger afterwards. The reason why I knew about it was because I checked the closed circuit TV to identify the vandal, only to find he was the only one to go in since the previous inspection. Man, I have never been in a position where I wanted to just tear a bathroom up, but you know, I guess things like that can happen. Next, and this is a good one because I read this one just a second ago. Took a dump at my girlfriend's parents' house and plugged up the toilet. First time I met them too. Her sister was there and her kids, and I blamed it on the oldest daughter.
Did you flush this toilet?
You know what? Maybe Jinx flushed it.
Man, when you're blaming kids for stuff, that's pretty rough. But let me add, we're now married with kids, so it's funny to talk about now. Her parents later said they knew a 10-year-old couldn't have dropped the log like that. Okay, I want to tell you two different ones because I got to hit. These are some great stories, and you realize the problems that you have, and I'm one of these guys too, like the second one there. Once I leave the restaurant, I've got to go, and I only want to go at home, so I will wait forever. So I completely get that. But this one here, blaming a kid, man, that's got to be a tough one. You can't blame kids for stuff like that. I got called out as a plumber one time to a stopped-up toilet, and it's funny because the father is like, look, we keep telling our son to do courtesy flushes, do multiple flushes. And says he waits and waits and waits. And then when he goes and poops, he like fills up the bowl. And I thought, yeah, sure. Well, I go to pull this toilet because it stopped up and he wanted me to remove it. He said, I want to make sure nothing's trapped down in there. I remove it and poop has filled it solid. Now, I don't know how any water got around it. And don't get me wrong, there was an offset flange on it and it wasn't put in right. So it literally created a spot to catch it. But I was able, luckily, just to take the water out of the sprayer, point it down in there, turn it on, and wash all that down, and it pushed enough water through that it went down. That was a tough one. So since y'all shared your stories with me, I'm going to tell you mine, and believe it or not, it's not a poop story, but it is a bathroom story. I actually went to speak at a conference, and I cannot believe I'm telling this, but I went to speak at a conference. I had a hemorrhoid on my butt. I gotta tell you, it was about that dadgum big. And it was so bad, I had already called and made a doctor's appointment to go have it looked at. So I get to this conference, and I mean, trust me, when you've got one that big, you walk funny, but you get where you're going. I actually went up the escalator, and about the time I turned the corner, I felt this instant relief. Like, oh my gosh, all the pain just went away. And then I realized my butt felt just a little wet. So I am literally walking because I know where the bathroom is, and I'm walking, and luckily they happen to be giving away some of those little backpacks with the strings on them. And I want you to know, I grabbed one on my way to the bathroom. I walk in the bathroom and sat down, and yes, my hemorrhoid ruptured. At a conference with 70,000 people. And I'm looking at my jeans and I'm like, oh my gosh. So luckily I grabbed that bag, I cleaned up as best I could, got up and tied the bag around my waist to where it was hanging behind my butt, walked back out. This is the part I hate to tell anybody, Ubered back to my room, and it did not mess up the seat. But that is my worst bathroom story. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, I've got 7 good ones here. Mine is when your hemorrhoid ruptures in front of 70,000 people and you can cover it up and hide it, you did pretty good. Anyway, guys, I love these stories. Thank you very much. We love posting stuff on our YouTube community. So what I will say is check it out and check it out often. You may have a story that you want to tell, and we would love to see you in there. If you've ever been in a position where you've got a good bathroom story, do me a favor, leave it down below. I want to hear it. And if you can top mine, I will make sure we heart it and move it up to the top. Anyway, I'm Roger Wakefield, Lead AP, the expert plumber. I'll see you in the next video if you don't get flushed. I know, and that's a true story. VidCon. And the bad thing is, I was supposed to go get Julie later that day, and I remember because we had a Airbnb, and it was like 5 miles away, and rode all the way over there, and literally on the way up the escalator around the corner, it's like, oh my God. And I mean, I kid you not, I took pictures of it. I could send y'all pictures. I'm not going to. No, but I mean, the ass of my jeans was just a blood red spot. And luckily I stopped and grabbed one of those little nylon backpacks that you get that have the strings. And I'm like taking the strings apart, putting it right down below my butt, tying it around my waist. And I'm like, I mean, literally, I'm calling Uber right then and walking out like, and I'm looking around like there's anybody looking at me. And I'm praying to God nobody stops and says, Roger, let's talk. You know, I'm leaving. And it did. And I kid you not. And I had been trying to pop it because I was like, look, this has got to be a blood blister or something. And it was Are we still recording? Turn the recorder. Yeah, that's what scares me. Then I'll stop my story right there.